When people think of William the Conqueror, they think of the mighty warrior conquering the world. But that's not how his story ended. I mean, he did go out with a bit of a bang, literally, because he sort of exploded at his own funeral. In his youth, William the Conqueror was quite the masculine specimen. He was the epitome of manliness astride a horse. But as the years went by and age caught up with him, he grew more corpulent and, well, piled on the pounds, which was a bit of a touchy subject for the king. At one point, after King Philip of France likened him to a pregnant woman about to give birth, he was so dismayed that he devised his own diet, where he consumed nothing but wines and spirits. Unsurprisingly, it didn't help one bit. Well, in 1087, the now rather large William the Conqueror was back on his horse, and in the heat of battle, when his horse reared up, throwing the king against the saddle pommel so forcefully that he ruptured his intestines. And that was really bad news. Sadly, infection set in, and within a matter of weeks, the king had perished. And that's when things went from bad to worse. At his burial a few weeks later, his body had had chance to, ferment. Thanks to the internal ravages of the infection and the gases produced by decomposition, his already portly frame had begun to swell even more than normal. Unfortunately, the monks had mismeasured, and the stone sarcophagus was a tad too small, but, well, they were determined to stuff him in that coffin come hell or high water, so they pushed and pushed and pushed until the king's body just couldn't take any more, and, well, it exploded, showering them all with putrid intestinal goo. Well, as you can imagine, it not only made a massive mess, but the stench was unbearable. In fact, it was so bad that mourners reportedly ran for the door in an attempt to escape the awful smell. It was that bad. Well, the monks were left with an even bigger problem than when they started, because now they not only had to fit a rather gooey king in the coffin, but they sort of had to, mop him up first. All the while working with the most terrible stench you can imagine. Not the best end for the conquering king. But I guess he did get one last chance to make people run away in fear, so maybe he got his final wish after all. Who knows? But one thing is definitely clear. That old measure twice, cut once proverb definitely applies to coffins too.